What's up, everybody? Corey Van Castle Cook here, also known as the Bearded Cinephile, and I wanted to give you all my immediate reaction to the newest film from director, actor, writer Bradley Cooper, and that's Maestro, all about the life of Leonard Bernstein. You may remember, for those of you who don't know, Leonard Bernstein was one of the most famous composers of the 20th century. Conductor, composer, wrote several operas, wrote several symphonies, conducted and created some of the best music in terms of musical theater, such as West Side Story, Candide, a whole bunch of others. So I didn't know much about the person going into this, and this is kind of at over 2 hours. It's not a cradle to grave type of biopic. It's a specific part of his life from about 25 to 70, really more based on his relationship with his wife, Felicia, played by Carey Mulligan. Bradley Cooper, in this case, directs the film, but also plays Leonard Bernstein as well. So I want to get to some of the things that did work for me that I liked before I get into some of the other stuff that kind of didn't. One of them that didn't work for me is maybe going to be a little bit surprising to people. So first of all, I think it was an interesting choice from a musical standpoint that the music, except for a few songs here and there when we get in the 80s, are just Leonard Bernstein's music, using various pieces that Bradley Cooper does for specific moments throughout the film. I thought that the cinematography in this was excellent. In fact, depending on the area that we're looking at, whether it's the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, somewhat into the 90s, or sorry, into the 80s. It has different aspect ratios. There's a different color palette, especially some of the older decades are actually in black and white. But Matthew Lebetique, who is the cinematographer here, he's had done stuff with Requiem for a Dream. He's worked with Bradley Cooper on A Star Is Born before. Also done Venom and Iron Man, so he has a different aspect. I would not be surprised if he got nominated for Best Cinematography because there's some excellent choices here, and it really sets the visual scene. It draws your eye in to what you want to be feeling in that moment as it's trying to experience it with Leonard himself. Again, same ditto for the editing in this by Michelle Tesoro, who I thought it honestly some of the best editing work I've seen all year. Specifically, certain scenes where, in some ways, it's almost like musical theater numbers, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I've got to say that this is maybe the best performance of Carey Mulligan's career. She was just absolutely phenomenal as someone here who was very much married to somebody who was closeted gay and thought that she could get by with the little bit of the love that he was giving out, but at the same time was very frustrated as the marriage went on to somebody who at some point she says is, you've got so much anger and hate in you that's coming out through your music when I know that you have much more love to give because you're not living to be your true authentic self. And that the tension lies in their relationship together, which when it's focused on that, which is most of the movie, I think it's excellent. They have great chemistry together. I would, she's obviously going to be a front runner for Best Actress. I would think that, I haven't seen Poor Things yet with Emma Stone, but which I hear is fantastic. But man, there was some. Her performance made me cry, especially late moments when she gets cancer, which very much reminded me of my own mother and the things that she went through. And even there's this beautiful part that brought me to tears where she's, holding her daughter and saying that, all you need is to be sensitive, just kindness. And that really kind of hit home because that reflected towards me. I think this movie proves what an excellent talent Bradley Cooper is as a director. Because the way that this is shot, the way that it is structured, the way that he composes things together, pun intended, to create this story and has you focus on what you want it to be, he's got a talented eye. Star is Born was no fluke. He is now, I think, putting himself in that category of the great actor directors out there. And for me, this is even directed even better than A Star Was Born was done. To the point that I see this movie and I think, not necessarily, I can't wait to see what the next acting project is for Bradley Cooper. I can't wait to see what the next directing project is, because this is clearly a labor of love. He lived and breathed Leonard Bernstein for years in this case. Now, here's where I have an issue, and this is going to sound strange, but I wasn't really enamored with the performance of Bradley Cooper as Leonard Bernstein. I thought he kind of grew into it, and there were certain moments that I was really caught up in it. Like there's a section where he's conducting for like 7 minutes. There's some later scenes, a particular a fight, kind of a argument scene between him and his wife Felicia that I thought was very powerful. What I had an issue with is I felt so often, I'd probably say 75% of the time, that Bradley Cooper is trying so hard. It's not effortless. He's really trying. And I don't know if it's like he's trying to go for an Oscar or what, but too many times I saw Bradley Cooper trying to be Leonard Bernstein, uh, rather than somebody who's disappearing into the role. And I don't, I don't want to do comparison because sometimes comparison is death. But I can't help but think of Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer, who vanished from the first 5 seconds of that film. I don't know where Cillian Murphy went because all I saw was J. Robert Oppenheimer. I can't say that the same is true here for Maestro. Also, there's some stuff going on, like kind of the upper class, posh, aristocratic stuff from New York City. Obviously, didn't really connect with me. Sometimes it got a little grating, a little bit annoying. Um, so it's a little bit uneven for me. I definitely, this is pretty much, this is an Oscar type of film, award type of Beatty film. In that case, one thing I did really appreciate that did shine through is there's a quote that he has at the beginning, Leonard Bernstein, and I'll read it off. It says, "A work of art does not answer questions, it provokes them, and its essential meaning is in the tension between the contradictory answers." I really felt that in my soul because it's the same way I feel about movies. That I absolutely feel that passion. That's the one thing that really kind of stood out and went and guided through in this film. So if you're going to ask me, what would kind of a scoring be? I'd probably give it a 7 on 10. It's a good movie. I doubt very highly that I'd ever watch it again because it does feel a little Oscar baity. Excuse me, but there's still quite a bit to like in this case. So that's my immediate reaction to Bradley Cooper's Maestro. Hit up in the comments below if you've seen it. Let me know what you think. As always, I'm Corey Van Castle Cook, the Bearded Cinephile, and I will see all of you next time.